husband, but hey, we move on. Oh yes, apparently I'd say the word. Interestingly, the character that you say is based on our playwright. If it is autobiographical, in the play they refer to the fact that he was dropped on his head and has never been right since. So you know, it's all in there, all of human life. In fairness, I'm no Jane Horrocks. Let's say that out loud. But she's allowed to stay in London, and there's a court order out on me, so I have to go for the provinces, and this was the easiest way of getting me out and being useful to society while I was at it. So of course that stays within ourselves. What goes on in Brighton stays in Brighton. And let it be said, on behalf of all of the cast, for we are now assembled, although not announced to the world except for a few of us. I'll tell you what, see this, announcing everyone, that's only so that if there's blame to be apportioned, everyone will know exactly how to spell my name and say, well. But anyway, we are totally delighted to be kicking off in Brighton because we get to spend the most time here, and also it is a city beloved of all of us. The only time having said that, the only time I have been here before, I came under cover of darkness to speak in a bookshop and then was sent home under cover of the same darkness, although a little inebriated. So I have wonderful memories of Brighton, and then also a great time that most of which I can't remember. So this will be different, obviously, a much more productive time. But like, we really are delighted to be bringing a show that I can genuinely tell you will be a great night out. You know, sometimes you'll be in shows and as great as they are, they might be a bit wordy, or they might be a bit preachy, or, you know, like there are moments and you think, I'm delighted I did it, but I'm not sure my grandmother would have enjoyed it as well as the younger members of my family, whereas this is one for everyone. I was talking to some lovely young Brighton people earlier, and they were saying that they watched the movie recently and the play came first, so in my mind it's better, I'll be honest with you. I always think they are, you know, the book is always better than the film, the book's always better than the TV show or whatever, you know, so in this case I think the play is a far finer experience than the film, which was wonderful. But she said when she watched it recently, she was so moved by some of it, and I said, well, that's exactly it. You get to laugh your legs off, and you also go, oh, because, you know, there's an edge there. Not everyone makes it out alive. I won't, even the boy dropped on his head. He went on to be very famous and live in Spain in real life. But you know, there is something for everyone, and it's a thoroughly great night out. And I think it's the sort of, there is no word for this, but it's the only thing that I think any of us as actors, or if you're a writer or whatever, an entertainer, all that you ever want to do is leave people with this feeling, so whatever the word for that is, that's what we'll be bringing to Brighton, and I look forward to sharing that with you afterwards, perhaps over a glass of seltzer. I am teetotal at the moment, quite literally teetotal, but it's only so I'll be fighting fit for this tour, and the fact that it's starting in Brighton means I'll be far too happy. So I'll need to be, you know, fit, basically. So I'm rebooting the old dear, and so I look forward to chatting with you. Now, obviously, as well, if you have any questions, I may tell lies, as I was saying, if they're far more interesting than real life. But once you've been to see the show as well, do stick around afterwards so we can go, hooray! Wasn't that a great night? So thank you all for coming as well, and any questions you have, just write them on the back of a fiver.
I mean,
do you know what, I must say this, if I ever had children, wouldn't they have been lovely? Oh, just so good looking. Yeah, no, I'm thrilled. All my family are very, very fine. And I didn't need to have them, which is great. My showbiz kids are gorgeous. I have a few more I'll show you. I'm not allowed to speak to them anymore again, court orders. But, you know, but there's no bad feeling in the parish. It's just the way things have to be. So, anyway, this is my lovely Ash. This is my son. Yes, does anyone have any questions?
I'll kick off. Yeah. It's obviously you're, shall we say, slightly Irish. How do you feel playing sort of a Northern England character in what's quite a well-known book and play?
Well, it turns out that our lovely playwright, Ayub, yeah. I called him Ayun behind his back a long time. That probably means something terrible.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, you know, that probably means I've been calling him shit something for ages, but I don't know. By the end of the tour, I know what I'm saying. But it turns out that his mother was an Irish Mancunian lady. Yeah. So, the character is just of Irish extraction. Who isn't? You have Irish, I'm sure, in the family somewhere. Well, you do if I'm your mum. You know what I mean? So you know, it's not out of left field that they have an Irish woman playing it, but I shall be giving my Salford in the 70s accent, which I am told is slightly different from Mancunian accent at the moment, because it's very broad, isn't it? The real common Manchester accent, and it's not quite the same for the 70s in Salford.
I started off sort of Noel Gallagher-ish in the audition, and that was sorry. No, a bit of Wonderwall, and that was sort of slowly. It's a slightly different accent to that broad sort of Manchester that you get as a modern kind of thing. It's a bit different, but no one will know.
Ye will, though, you know.
It's a bit easy.
Unless I can pass as a native, I may not go finish the tour. That's all right. No, they've nailed my head to the floor. So it'll be proper Manchester.
That would be an achievement. After 50 years in Manchester, I've still got the same accent.
Now, here is a very interesting thing, though. I was told before, apparently if you move to somewhere before you're 11 or 12, you will pick up the accent of where you've moved to. But if you're any older than that, you'll hang on to your own accent. So, looking at you, sir, you've been living in Manchester 10 years, and I'd say you were 11 when you went there. There was no hope.
I'm in England 55 years, and I've kind of lost my Cork accent.
Well, you know, it's really like, here is the proof that you can't really throw, well, you shouldn't throw stones anyway, but you can't throw a stone without hitting someone who has some sort of Irish in them. To me, the family in East is East might as well be an Irish family. Big Irish family, knocking 7 shades out of one another and behaving atrociously. And of course, there's nothing funnier, is there? You know, than the terrible things you can say to your brothers or sisters, and they have to forgive you, or to your parents, who you blame for everything, quite rightly, if they made you. If in that way, to me, it's kind of like universal. It could be a big old Irish family. Yeah.
I think everyone can relate to it. I think everyone can relate to that kind of family thing. I think it's why it's been so successful as well. You know, everyone can relate to that family.
Yeah. No, it's super in that way.
Pauline, what do you most like about Brighton?
Well, as I've said, it's been under cover of darkness so far. But I tell you what I know I'm going to love about it is I grew up in the west of Ireland, although it's many decades since I lived there. Although I'm only admitting to 38. I grew up near the sea, so what I love about Brighton is that it's going to be by the sea, and I'll be able to, just walk the stink off myself every day if I need to, I like talking to myself, sometimes aloud when I'm walking. So, I'd say everybody, by the end of the 2 weeks, everyone's saying, oh, I saw Pauline down there. She had a great row with herself. And I do find that, I love a bit of gardening. It's weeding, really. I shouldn't call it more than that. But I find I have great conversations with me because I have a lot in common with me. But I'm very hard on me as well. So all that will be happening on the beachfront in Brighton from the middle of June onwards, just to warn you. So, you can come and see the show, but you can also watch the show.
We're charging people to watch you, really?
Yeah,
that's the earth.
It won't be noticed in Brighton.
Would you think not? Answers like myself. A friend of mine, I saw her one day, I passed her she's a wonderful actress called Victoria Smurfett, and she's now based in America. She's playing Cruella de Vil on one of the American shows. And I saw her, one day I was passing on a bus and I saw her walking along the street. It was in Dublin when she still lived in Dublin. And she was talking away to herself, very animated. And I texted her later to say, I saw you having a great chat with yourself on the bus. And she went, well, yeah, because I'm the only one who knows the right answers. So thought to myself, don't interfere. You'd be coming into a family row, me versus I, and it would be bad.
What made you decide to do the play?
Well, it is fair to say that it's a modern classic, you know, and you don't get to say that about, you know, it's a very lasting play. Like, it was written in, what, 1997 or something like that. Yeah. And like all these years, you know, nearly 20 years later, here it is, just as fresh and fabulous as ever. So there was that, and you know, it's one of the horrors about being a woman actor. We're all actors now rather than an actor and an actress. Oh, I hate it, but anyway, let's say actress. Is that in world drama there are still 7 men's parts for every 1 woman's part. The ratio is the same. Like, it might be different in some plays, but you know, that's it. So when a good woman's role comes along, you just, you know, you'd kill to get with the elbows to get to the top of the queue to be in it. So I knew that I've seen the film, I didn't see the stage version, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because you know, we're doing a fluffed up new version of it, even better, to be honest. Right now, I'd say. I've started big, I may as well stay there. So you know, to be part of you know, something like that would be great, but also I will admit, it has a brilliant young director called Sam Yates, who is maybe the hottest property in theatre at the moment, I think. Also very easy on the eye and a lovely young man. Since you ask.
It is true. We should have brought him with us.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Not you.
I'm alright on the eye.
I've already praised you.
I'm not theatre's hot young properties.
You're not a director yet.
No, I'm not.
You're not a grown-up yet.
No.
Like he is as a director. Well, you know, his name attached to his eye, I just thought, oh yeah, I definitely want. You know, the horror is though, like anyone that you really admire, you're just terrified of disappointing them. You know, so I'm still at that level of it. You know, I'll do anything for him because I'm terrified that I'll disappoint him. Yeah. So you know, it was a whole combination of that, and I will admit, although a tour, I don't have any actual kids. I just have beautiful showbiz kids that I can hand back at the end of the tour. You know, I kind of, as a result, then I'm sort of more mobile. So although a tour can ruin your life, you know, because you're away a lot, this one just really appealed to me because we go to a load of places that I've never been, and I'm quite looking forward to getting out and meeting people all around the country and just robbing a little bit of the history of each town and maybe putting it in a book. At the end, I want to do a bit of writing while I'm on tour. That's the plan. If I say that to enough people, then I have to do it. So, you know, there's method in my madness there. So, you know, it was all of that combination of things. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really happy and really looking forward to it. Now, what we should do is we should meet in early October when we finish this tour, and you can see the wreck of what's left as we go. We had an amazing time. We're barred out of several of the great cities of Great Britain, some Britain, you know, and see how much of us is left and see how much did we enjoy it. Yeah, not wisely but too well, perhaps, you know, but it'll be great, it'll be great. And to be honest with you, it might as well say Made in Brighton on it, because, you know, having stayed, we'll have performed more here than anywhere else by the end of it. So, you know, it really is just all of those things put together. I hope I answered that. Sometimes I go off.
And I should say that we were so pleased that Pauline wanted to do it.
Yeah.
As soon as we knew we were going to do this, she's the first person that wanted to do it. And so thrilled when she met with Sam.
Well, equally, that's me. How many Irish actors does it take to change a light bulb? Me, I'll do it, is the answer.
When Sam called after he met you, and I was in a meeting, and I answered straight away because I thought, oh, Sam met Pauline, and he said, yeah, she wants to do it. And I went, everyone, Pauline wants to do it. And everyone was like, a little clap. So, you know, from our point of view, we're so chuffed.
It's pushing it open the door. So, yeah, it'll be super. No, really, you should all come with us. We could get a charabanc together and just drive around England. And we'd say, now you go and have a good time. We have to go and do the show, but we'll see you later. Great. Yeah. What else?
Ashley, could we hear why you wanted to do it as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, East is East.
Why did you want to do it again, even?
Yeah, well, God, come on.
I'm sorry. The hard question and an even harder one.
Bill Piers Morgan. East is East is something that I think I watched the film about 50 times growing up. It's very similar to my own background, so it speaks to me culturally, and it's something I can really relate to. And I did the play, and I was so delighted when I got the part, and I just don't think I could ever turn down East is East. I just love it, and it speaks to my heart, and it's so funny and heartwarming, and it's everything that I love about theatre. Because I think if you go to theatre and you're just beaten over the head with serious stuff for 2 hours, you know, or you're just given gags for 2 hours, I think what this does, it just blends humour and drama so beautifully in this family. And I've never toured either, so I've never done that. So I can't wait to get out and see the UK in the summer. Because everywhere looks nice in the summer, even the horrible places we're going to.
Of which there are none.
I'll be in the Marriott in those places. No calls.
Does Ian know that he's written such a great play?
Oh yeah, you haven't met him, have you?
Or he didn't know, haven't you? To see
no, I think he's really touched, because obviously I worked with him. He played George when we did it before, and I think he's so touched that every generation of next generation of people can relate to it so much. And I think he felt like when it first came out, he was like, okay, those people loved it, and then to do it again and see young people coming and new actors like myself and a few other guys that did it, I think it really touched him. And because it is so autobiographical, I think it's so close to him, and yeah, I think he's still so surprised that everyone loves it as much as they do.
But I think it's on a syllabus someplace as well, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is. Yeah, it's taught.
Yeah,
it's taught.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
Yeah. So wow, imagine,
I mean,
you need never write another
This is the
thing.
first play that
So there it is.
He wrote it while he was at drama school. Like,
Yeah.
It's the first play that he wrote it because his mother had Alzheimer's, and he wanted to preserve some of the memories of their life, and so he wrote it then. It's his first play, and I mean, this is his most successful play by, you know, he's written plays, been on the National and various places, but this is the one with the, you know, sort of biggest legacy, so it's amazing.
It's funny you mentioned the Alzheimer's thing. One of the novels I wrote has a woman with Alzheimer's in it, and honestly, when I was writing it, I had Alzheimer's. I was sure of it. You know, every time you, it's one of those, like the play. People who work in medicine or, you know, are involved in any end of that sort of thing have the grimmest, darkest sense of humour, really, really funny. There was, and then things like this, there was an ad on Irish radio once that was possibly the most irresponsible thing I've ever heard, but passed by the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland and the whole lot. And basically, the plummy voice of one of my friends who does a lot of voiceovers said, have you ever walked into a room and thought, what did I come in here for? That might be the first sign of Alzheimer's. You should go and see your doctor. No, that's just a bit like you've too much on your mind. You know, it's like, oh my God. And then the Alzheimer's Society themselves wrote out one that said, remember those who can't remember themselves. And I promise you that was an ad on telly and radio as well. So, you know, there is humour everywhere. You know, including, there'll be great moments in this play when you think, oh my Lord, but the next minute you'll be laughing. You know, because that's life, isn't it? You know, yeah. So, as Miss Joni Mitchell says, laughing and crying, you know, it's the same release. So there you go. And as she said it, it's true.
Pauline, can you give us an impression of Mrs. Doyle?
Oh, why? All right. I suppose she's never far away, and we are here having tea and cakes. So I suppose she would say to you, will you have a cup of tea? Or one of the cakes? They have cocaine in them. Oh, I need raisins. There you go. She's never far away. I'm really worried. I married a slightly younger man. He's young enough to be my brother, actually, my youngest brother. I was just 2 brothers younger than me. And before we got married, we were married about 17 years now, but we don't see one another every day of the year, and that's to the good. You know, you can see too much of a person, and so we avoid that wherever possible. And he's a lovely man. But in the beginning, when we said to him we were getting married, he was asked, because it was at the time when I had just been Mrs. Doyle on the television. They said, "How do you feel about Mrs. Doyle?" And he said, well, it's kind of like a preview, isn't it? I said, Richard, now that says more about you than it does about me. You know, he thought it was a great thing to say, and I didn't. But she is never far away, sadly. As lovely as she is.
How do you decide on the sort of physical projection of your characters? Because I can see little bits of Mrs. Doyle in you, but Mrs. Doyle isn't you. She's Mrs. Doyle.
Yeah.
Did you base her on anyone, or is it
But
just?
you know, she's
really
kind of based on everyone. Everyone has Mrs. Doyle in their family. It doesn't matter where you're from. It is the auntie or the granny or the mammy who presses, you know, food on people because it's the answer to everything. Oh God, you feel terrible? Have a sandwich. You know, like everyone does it. You know, no matter where you're from. So I guess there's a little bit of that. You know, in every family. So I knew exactly the kind of mad auntie or granny that she might be. She's the sort of woman that will give you a glass of whiskey at 11 in the morning, and you know, because you're travelling onwards. You know, and it would make perfect sense to her, and an insult if you didn't drink it. You know, and then your whole day ruined, of course. So there's a little bits of that. But I guess inevitably, no matter what part you play, even if you are a bit of a chameleon, you can change the way you look at everything. There'll always be little things like, I have my mother's hands, little pointy fingers. Dolores. I went through a phase of it. A lady called Dolores would come out if I had too much to drink. But she has my mother's hands, little pointy fingers. And I swear, I look down at my hands sometimes and they are my mother's hands, I promise you. But also, there's no disguising those. No matter what happens, the hands will always be Pauline's hands, even if it's on another woman. So I guess it depends. You know, it totally depends on the part as well. I mean, in East is East, because it's set in the 70s, we get to wear some rather unflattering clothes. And sadly, the 70s look is back. Though not in the hippie way not for me, so far from what I can see. No, it'll be, you know, all the things that you hoped wouldn't come back, like crimpling. They're back, yeah, and polyester.
The shoes
And
were
the shoes.
dreadful that they were.
The heels were a horrible shape in the 70s. I'll say that out loud. Be you a man or a woman. The heels, it was all about the heels and they were wrong. So, you know, there'll be a little bit of that as well. So, yeah, I'll be reliving the horror that was me in the 70s. I have actually asked for, you know, we're just deciding on these things now, but either a bad perm, hopefully, not in real life, hopefully a wig of some sort. Do you remember Charlie's Angels was huge? You were too young to remember this. In the 70s, and do you remember we all had the flick? You know, like Farrah Fawcett majors. I kind of fancy maybe a flicky wig. You know, so looking forward to that as well.
They got me the perm.
Do you think the bad perm? Oh God, I was a martyr to them. But there you go.
Well, I'm going for the fancy wig as well, I think. Yeah, Pauline, Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming along.
Brilliant.
I look forward to seeing you at the show and thereafter. Yeah.